Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a tarot tonic series video. So the initial idea behind the tarot tonic series, and I don't have many videos in it because I rarely do these type of videos, because essentially I am tackling a topic that I consider important or that I feel very strongly about. And quite often what I'm talking about has, it can be not confrontational, but it's certainly not an easy discussion as such, and it can attract a lot of feedback, and sometimes that's not positive. So when I first started doing the tarot tonic, it was basically because it was late at night and I'd fixed myself a gin and tonic, hence the name tarot tonic. And I wanted the video to be a relaxed, conversation. Well, not conversation because I don't have anyone else kind of talking back to me, but I just wanted a really mellow, end of the day discussion where I talk about something that I feel very strongly about. Well, today, it's the middle of the day, so I certainly am not having gin and tonic at midday. So some days I wish I would. So I fixed myself a different kind of tonic. I've got a little teapot here with some green tea and lemon myrtle. And if you've never tried lemon myrtle, I'll just say that you're missing out, okay? It's absolutely fantastic. So the other thing I do with these tarot tonic series is I feature, as I'm talking through, I feature a deck just so you can have something to look at, right? And makes it a bit more visually appealing or interesting for you. And today I am using the Oak, Ash and Thorn deck. This is created by Stephanie Burrows, and the artwork itself is by Adam Oehlers. And I deliberately chose this deck, and I'll talk about why that is a bit later on. If you know anything about it, and you've seen the cover image of this video, you'll know why I've chosen that deck, but I'll explain that as we go through. So allow me to pour myself a cup of tea. And then I'm going to shuffle the deck because I find it really, really interesting how the deck, when I'm doing these type of videos, the deck often mirrors either what I'm about to say or it reflects what I've said. It's kind of really fascinating to actually see this in action. So I like to give this a good shuffle, not too long. This won't be like, when I do my monthly readings or anything like that. Just a few shuffles, and then I'll cut it, and then I'll get started. So as you've seen from the cover image, or perhaps even the title, I haven't thought about the title yet, but essentially I'm having a chat about AI tarot decks. That is, tarot decks that are created using artificial intelligence or AI. And now, before we get started, hang on, let me just cut this up. In fact, let's just start. Let's make a start. This might be a bit of a ramble. And yes, this is a personal opinion kind of deck, kind of video. I'm not God, nor am I the authority on how civilization should proceed or self-destruct, perhaps. So yes, it's a personal opinion. And if you are offended by what I'm about to say, number one, I do not mean to offend anyone. But number two, if you think about leaving a comment that is in any way how shall I say this, rude. I either delete such comments or sometimes I actually have a good laugh and respond in measure with the energy that it deserves. So anyway, I'll just put that out there first because I know that this has really it generates very strong opinions from people. And how I know that is because I've seen the comments on social media pages. And initially, like a while back, I used to comment and put my 2 cents out there. And then I stopped because I kind of felt like, you know what, the ultimate impact that I have is through what I decide to purchase with my own hard-earned money. Because I wasn't gifted the money that I spend on these tarot decks. I haven't won lotto. I have earned for this money, and therefore I decide what it goes towards and what sort of world it influences. So, yes, I am someone who absolutely despises AI when it comes to tarot-generated decks. Now, some of you out there, let's start. Some people out there, let's make some space. Will hear me say that or read my comments and instantly say, oh, you're not against AI, so you're against technology, and you clearly want to go back to living in a cave in the Stone Age, or pick your favorite historical period that they're referring to. And all that shows is the commenters' lack of ability to have a logical argument. They need to study logic a bit, I think. Because that's not what I'm saying at all. Questioning a technology isn't the same as saying we don't want that technology. And I will also say that just because I do not support or like AI decks doesn't mean that I'm against all of AI per se, because I think that AI, like with any medium, any technology, can be used for good or bad, and that use depends entirely on the humans who use it and what their values are. And what I'm saying when I clearly, explicitly state I will not purchase AI decks, and if your Kickstarter creation doesn't explicitly state whether or not you have used AI, I will not back it. I will not put my money towards it. The devil, right? Illusions. What's real, what's not real. Talk about illusions, the 7 of Cups comes up. So why? Because we've got to look at the why. If you're trying to understand when someone is against something, you've got to really understand the why. Why is that? Well, first of all, it's because I've seen it being used very negatively when it comes to tarot decks by people with no moral compass. Okay. And I'll see if I can find a screenshot of Baba Studios. Back, I think it was it a year ago, 2 years ago, I can't remember, but they, raised the issue that somebody had taken their Victorian romantic tarot deck, which they created. Now, this wasn't painted by them, but they curated it. They took all the artworks, they've credited the artworks, they created a book on it where the artwork was sourced, and they formatted the images and created the Victorian romantic deck. And then what somebody did was they got a hold of the deck, talk about dishonesty, and the Seven of Swords comes up. Perfect. So yeah, they took the deck and they fed it through some AI platform, some AI program that essentially generated a deck that they claimed to pass as their own, which is bullshit. We all know it. You know it, I know it, we all know it. But that's not the main issue that I have with AI per se, actually, because, I mean, of course I have a huge issue with that. That is unethical at best. That is terrible dishonesty and theft. I'm glad that we're getting all the swords cards out of the way when I talk about the negative impacts of AI. Nine of Swords, Three of Swords, Seven of Swords, they're all here. So yeah, that is bad enough. But that's really a reflection of the person, you know. And we've had unethical, unscrupulous people amongst us since the dawn of civilization, really, right? People that live in a kind of scarcity mentality rather than a thriving mentality and abundance mentality. And I'm not being, I'm trying not to be cliche when I say that, but I know it sounds like that a bit. But anyhow, my main issue with AI is that it does not value human craft. It doesn't value the work, the practice, the countless hours that someone spends perfecting their craft. In our case, that craft is painting and illustrating. And this deck is a hand-painted deck. And no, I'm not against technology, because clearly this deck might very well have been, once it has been painted, the images might have been sized or maybe shaded even, or whatever, in a program. But the basic of the card, you know, someone actually took the time to paint this and come up with something that is not just beautiful, but it really captures something that I'm not even sure I can put into words, because it's more than just beautiful, right? That is really my main beef with AI. And the fact that people aren't questioning really, where is this taking us? Where are we going with this technology? And why? I'm not disputing the fact that AI has benefits. In fact, I did a tarot reading, and I'll link it below if I can remember, on AI. You know, what is it? Where are we going with it? And it wasn't like a hugely negative reading by any means. So apt. Eight of Swords. Not seeing. Not really seeing which way to go with this thing. So I'm not per se like against AI itself, but I'm against the fact that there's a lack of questioning of its uses. I'm against the fact that it doesn't really embody human craftsmanship at all. You cannot tell me that someone who, you know, types a few prompts in ChatGPT or whatever other programs they use to create an image, and then gets fed 1 million images to choose from and put into a tarot card. You cannot ever convince me that that is the same as someone who has spent years perfecting their craft as a painter and as an artist. Not even close. It's an insult to all artists. Yes, I am saying that, and I do mean it. It is an insult to all genuine creators, artists who take their time to perfect their craft, and illustrators. That's really my beef with it. And it's not just tarot. In case you think that this is a tarot issue, I mean, I prefer, look, this cup and this teapot are created by hand. Is it more expensive than some generic teapot I can buy at Kmart here in Australia? I don't know what the equivalent is in the United States or wherever you are from. Yeah, of course it is, because it takes someone hours to make this. And it also takes them years to actually be able to create something unique and authentic. And that's the other thing that I really can't stand about AI. It lacks soul. It's so soulless. Oh. And I'm saying this, yes, this is my personal opinion, of course. But I'm willing to put some money on the fact that that opinion is rather in the majority in the tarot world. And the other reason I'm saying this and I'm doing this video is also because some of my viewers, you might very well support AI, and I don't have a problem with your personal choices. But I think you should know where I stand on the matter and unsubscribe accordingly. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm a woman of 45, and the time for me to please every single Tom, Dick, and Harry has long passed. Like, long passed. Midlife is just astonishingly in its power for women. I don't know what it's like for men, but I tell you what, it is the most freeing thing to stand in your power and to proclaim your truth. It is absolutely beautiful. And here I am, basically making it clear what it is that I stand for when it comes to AI. Talk about not knowing where this is going to take us. Yesterday, I came across this post, and I will say first up that I didn't actually check the truth in it. So this might not be true, but I'm going to go and look it up after, and I'll actually put a comment on the screen. I saw a post that someone put up to say that in China they now have an AI hospital that's been built. Yeah, this is what it sounds like to me too. The Ten of Swords, like kill me now. This is where we're going with this. Just in case anyone thinks that their job is safe, I actually think that there's no job that can be replaced by AI. And clearly they're doing their best to do so in China, because they've created this AI hospital where the doctors and the nurses are trained AI robots, and they can process something like, I think it said 10,000 cases in, I can't remember if it was a day or a week. Now, it's not open to the public yet, but it's obvious they're trialing this technology. And even if this post wasn't true, I can see that absolutely being the case in the future. Is this where we want to go? But I think the bottom line, it's about the fact that I find AI decks soulless. I find them often very kitsch and just terrible. The artwork just doesn't do it for me. It does not compare to someone's illustration or artwork that they have painted themselves, and that they're passionate about, that is their vocation. That is their craft, that's their passion, that's their calling. And they're putting out in the world something of beauty and meaning that reflects their soul and their human experience. So no, I will not be spending my hard-earned money on AI decks. Absolutely not. And for me now, to back a tarot deck on Kickstarter, the creator has to say explicitly that they do not use AI. And actually, I came across one yesterday. I'll see if I can screenshot the image and put it up for you to have a look. Because, I mean, the artwork wasn't my style. It's fantastic, but it's very futuristic, kind of looking. I can't remember what it was called. It was kind of, the fantasy mixed with sci-fi, kind of. And I'm not really into sci-fi at all. Fantasy, I don't mind, but, I think one of their suits was like a bunch of eyeballs, and, it's just not me. But credit to the creator for actually saying, that they are a bona fide painter, an illustrator, and they actually put on the cover of their, their deck that is not AI generated. And I hope to see more of that in the future. And I think if you're a genuine illustrator and painter, having a social media presence or a website or something where people can check you out and make sure that you are that, and that your deck isn't just something that's been sped out by a computer program, I think, I think it's certainly of value. So yeah, I really wanted to, I guess, make my position clear on this. And no, I do not wish to go and live in the Stone Age or the Bronze Age or any other age. I mean, it's an interesting argument, because if you think about it, yes, our modern life is because, we've had the technological advances from the industrial age, let's say, onwards. And people will say, if it wasn't for technology and the industrial age, we couldn't feed 8 billion people. If it wasn't for all these machines and technology, with, monoculture, a vast monoculture agriculture systems that require machines and technology, then we couldn't feed 8 billion people. And I say, yes, true, but equally true is the fact that we probably wouldn't have 8 billion people, because without that level of technology to create all these foods, populations kind of regulate themselves. Look at it now. Look how many people are saying they're not having kids because of cost of living crisis or whatever. When if times are really tough, you're not going to go out and have 10 kids. I mean, there's always the exception to the rule. I know that, but come on. The fact is that I'm not sure that so many people on this planet is, and I'm not against people procreating or anything like that, and that's the other argument people make, you're against this and that, and I'm like, no, that's not the case. All I'm saying is you got to really think about the argument that you're putting forward and why that is, because a lot of them are flawed, inherently flawed. So, anyhow, I just wanted to come on here and let my viewers know where I stand on the matter, and what my thoughts are on it. I'm not sure if I've articulated it very well as to the reasons why, but essentially I just feel it goes against the human experience, and it's not really where I want to see our world, the direction that I want to see the world go in. I don't want to live in some sort of sci-fi dystopia where, my doctor is a robot and my pet dog is a robot, and, the food that I eat is created in a laboratory, and the artwork is generated from some generic cliche computer program, and on and on and on. And money is energy, so I'm putting my money, i.e. my energy, towards those products that are created by human beings, by craftsmen, craftspeople, and that take our world in the direction that I like to see it go in, where people's genuine, honest work is being valued and respected, and it creates a livable wage or standard of living for them. That's really the bottom line on it. And also, I think AI looks crap. Just in case I haven't made that clear. I think it's terrible. It's just like, yeah, it's an affront to the senses, to the visual senses. So I shall wrap this up here. I've probably missed a few things because this is not a scripted video. And I wish it was a scripted video sometimes, as in I wish I had written all of what I want to say and fleshed it out before I create a video, but I'm a fire sign. I ain't got no patience for that level of thoroughness. Anyhow, thank you so much if you've made it this far. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for supporting my channel and watching my videos. I do welcome all comments, provided that they're respectful and thoughtful and not rude or disrespectful. Because if they're, I'll just delete them. Until my next video, take care.